Hey everybody, welcome to Ready for Media, the fall of 2022, and it's asynchronous. How you doing? I'm hoping that everybody's doing well. Had a good summer. And I'm Tom Davis, and I'll be your teacher. I've been teaching here for 18 years, almost 19, since 2004. And this is how I'll be delivering the course every week. So, you know, I've been delivering it in class, out of class. Didn't really have much of a choice in the matter in this case, but because Rutgers has been doing a lot more asynchronous classes, but it's worked out well. So we'll do our best, but we'll do well, and I'm sure everybody will do fine. We will stay in touch. We'll stay in contact. Just make sure to watch these lecture videos every week, and I'll outline when those will be available. Anyway, so like, who am I? I'm Tom Davis. I'm the managing editor of Best Review, trade insurance. It's an insurance trade publication. But I was in general news for a very long time. Was different news, investigative journalism, the whole thing. I have experience with the Bergen Record. Was there for about 10 years, and I was a New Jersey editor at Patch.com for more than 10 years. So kind of covered news of all types, taught news of all types, the whole thing. So um, anyway, I try to impart my wisdom, my theories, and everything else on you. But basically, what we talk about is that journalism is, something that's basically, one of those things where everything, there's been so much change, but everything stays the same. The basics are still there. It's just the platforms have changed somewhat since I was a kid, since even like maybe 10 years ago. Um, the delivery style has changed, social media obviously being a big part of it. I'll play a little bit of a part of it in this class. I like to say that actually Twitter is probably the most emblematic of essentially what news writing is now. It's very simple and straight to the point. It's essentially what the first paragraph of a news story would be. So we'll be teaching that. I also have um in a first assignment for you guys, it'll be ungraded. Okay, so I want to get an idea where everybody's at at the start of class. I want to give you an idea like where you're at the start of class before I even like assign a grade. Um, so I'll be posting that. These lectures will be posted on Mondays. This time because of the holiday weekend, I'll be posted on Tuesday along with this new assignment, which I'll be getting into later. Okay. So anyway, let me share the screen and show our way around things. Um, okay. Alrighty. And so here it is. And then of course you should know obviously um to basically know that I'm sorry, I'm a little bit thrown off if you don't mind, because actually I had a little trouble with my computer today. And I actually got a pinwheel like 3 times. So this is my fourth attempt at trying to record this. So I'm actually my delivery style is a little bit halting, probably because I'm a little afraid that it's gonna crap out. So just bear with me a little bit as I get in the flow of things here. So um, I've been teaching these asynchronous classes for about 3 years, almost 3 years now. So it's something that, like I said, I'm pretty used to. It's, again, not necessarily my choice of doing things. I'm also teaching an in-person class this semester, but we try to do everything we can like we would do in the regular classroom. Okay. And this is really like the best place to be right here. This is your town hall. This is your classroom whiteboard right here, and that is the Canvas site. Okay. So much of what you need to know is going to be on this Canvas site. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to also give out assignments, and I'm going to, when I give out those assignments and when I actually like make these lectures and give them out to you, I'm going to make an announcement. I'm also going to send you an email. Um, basically with the link to this lecture, which is, by the way, I post on YouTube just for easy accessibility and easier to upload. So all right, so you will be totally warned about what's going on. You'll probably even I would strongly suggest that you sign up for alerts on your telephones, on your cell phones for this class, because when I post things on the assignments, it should post on your phone. So be up to date with the lectures and the assignments and everything else. All the assignments will be posted right here. Okay. And actually right now what I'm showing you essentially is actually this is the faculty um, view. There's actually a student view too. And as you can see, nothing, I do have stuff. I do actually have all the reading assignments that are posted, and I'll get into what those mean. I do have a reading assignment actually assigned that's due on September 12th. That's chapters 1 and 2. That's for the book Writing and Reporting for the Media. Okay, so I do have a writing assignment and a reading assignment. And right now I'm not showing you this because I'm taping this actually over the weekend. It's a long weekend, and I'm moving my son Boo into Boston University. I know, competition. So anyway, so you actually don't see it. It's not actually posted here yet, but it will be posted along with this lecture on Tuesday. Okay. But this writing assignment, all the writing assignments, like I said, for the semester are actually already posted already, with even their due dates, and they're essentially almost pretty close to weekly. So, all right. So that's where the assignments will be listed. Okay. The announcements, we'll have an announcement basically telling you that this lecture is posted, as well, and also letting you know about the first assignment. Those are old announcements from other classes. It'll probably say welcome to class. This is a good thing to have followed by. It's the actual module section, and this essentially will be almost like your whiteboard. Okay, again, and actually I do teach almost like that. I use Microsoft Word as a whiteboard to show you different things like I would normally show on the whiteboard or chalkboard in a classroom setting. So, but this modules is good because basically what we'll do is it will actually introduce you to the different components of the class and where we're at. I like to say that actually the first half of the semester, I really like to try to concentrate on the writing end of things, basically just getting the writing down, getting the style, which is a unique style, the news writing style. I like to call it's almost like an upside down story, which I'll get into. Okay. But basically that's a style. It's like going to be different than what you've had in expository writing. It's going to be different than what you've had in any kind of writing. I mean, but it is writing. It's just a different form of it, a different form of the craft. Okay. And there's like almost like a different order to it. There's a different priorities to it. And that's what I'll be spending much of the first half of the semester doing. As you see, like course introduction, writing basics, EP style. It's also one of the books I've asked you to buy. Okay. Um, some basics about like what's right to print, what's wrong to print, media and ethics, news writing structure. There's actually a typical structure and formula to it. Then PR writing, major assignment preparation. That's actually when we get more into the reporting end of things, and we deal with more of like how to essentially get into get the information you need to get. Okay. So as you can see here, this is the course introduction. During this first class, we'll start by introducing ourselves and outlining the expectations for the course. This will include a review of the syllabus, as well as an orientation to the course. You will need Canvas in order to access class materials. So anyway, yes. See, this is, and let me just go back to the home page here, right here. Speaking of those materials, again, I'm asking you guys actually to purchase 2 books, Writing and Reporting for the Media. Do not buy the workbook. That's typically accompanies this news reporting writing class. I do not use the workbook, and I also don't use the assignments that are actually in the actual textbook. I don't do that either, okay? I give you straight assignments, and I'll explain what all that means in a bit, okay? All right. I'm also going to call up the syllabus. Okay, so if you can, second to basically call up this syllabus. Actually, a couple of things I also want to show you. I'll be going on about the syllabus. I'll be talking about this when I talk over the syllabus. Excuse me again for that. But wanted to actually show you guys where you can find the book. You don't necessarily need to get the book from the bookstore. It is actually available online at this thing called Chegg. And what I'll be doing is actually I'll be teaching from the book, but I don't rely heavily on the book. Okay. The book is it's more about, I think, just actually this is really a field of practice that really needs to be done by practice. Okay. That's how you learn by doing more than anything. the book actually essentially augments or supplements what I talk about in class and what you do as an assignment. Okay, but it doesn't necessarily replace that. And I actually don't even test on the reading. I actually do that actually based on trust. The writing assignments are actually your test. Okay, so and I can tell because can't talk about everything on these lectures, and that would probably bore you to death and basically force you to shut down and fall asleep while watching me talk on these computers. But the book actually helps supplement what I talk about, so I can tell when people aren't either watching the lectures or reading a book or both. Okay, this is actually one of our first chapters, and I'm having all sorts of computer issues, aren't I? Actually, I think it's gonna be right here. There we go. I say chapters 1 and 2 and journalism today, and this is one of them right here. Okay. Um, one of the things I show is actually as an example of good writing. I mean, obviously the New York Times. New York Times can be actually a little stuffy, and it can actually be have like really long like paragraphs or too long. But when they have breaking news, and even the New York Times has a style that's much the same news style as every other news style, and that is it's all about having some sort of a conversational form of writing, not just the way it's written, but the way it's presented. And you can tell when you actually look at a news story. And one of the things I would do is actually I would probably put like something from Charles Dickens next to this on the whiteboard if we were actually in a class, and I'd say, what's the big difference between the two? Well, one of the big difference between the two is you can see that these paragraphs stop short, and they're typically only one sentence or two. Now, this is actually kind of a bit of a long sentence, but it is one sentence. Okay. And on the internet, this is the style. They actually pause. They actually show space between the graphs. Okay. So this is how news works. It basically gives you a chance to get your news and essentially decide whether you want to continue reading or not and take a breath. Okay. And then move on to the next one. And then what it does is it gives you essentially, and they'll be talking about this, the inverted pyramid style, essentially the biggest news first in the story. And then it whittles it down until like news that maybe isn't as important or isn't as, immediate. Okay. What it does essentially the rest of the story, what the rest of the story does is break down the news story, into smaller bites, smaller pieces, so you better understand what's said in the first paragraph. Okay. This is about the jobs report. What you're saying was it moved at a slow rate, but it still was good for August. Okay, job growth slowed in August, but stayed solid, suggesting that rising interest rates and fear of a possible recession are leading companies to pull back on hiring. I probably could have taken out this part right here, but that the labor market recovery remains resilient. Okay, quick and to the point, very much like you would find, like I said before, like in a Twitter feed. Okay, yeah, I mean, not necessarily finding like news right here, but you find like essentially like your news organizations will post stuff to Twitter. Okay. The news headlines in San Francisco have seemed negative lately, but it's still San Francisco. The city's neighborhoods are vibrant and packed restaurants and bars. So this is a story about San Francisco and how things are just wonderful there. Okay. I guess. I don't know. So I like to say that actually, like if that's this is actually an excellent delivery form for the media. Okay, LinkedIn is a one that my company uses a lot for its news deliver. Okay, there's a guy from Edge Park Press, basically River Center, one of Monmouth County's biggest office parks, is getting a boost of capital from new ownership. That's very much like a news lead right there, and it's very businessy. And this is a guy actually worked with me on the Daily Targum, where I was editor for a few years. I was in senior news editor in the late 1980s, and being a Rutgers grad of 1989. So anyway, but that's very much straight and to the point, and pretty much it's for many cases like all the news you need. You don't necessarily need the news beyond that. Okay, so that's why that they call that the lead. The first paragraph of a news story is very important. Okay, it basically gives you the news you need to know and gives you the option of whether you want to continue on or not. Okay. All right. So here's our syllabus. Okay, which you could find on the syllabus again, the syllabus portion of the site. I showed you the modules. Okay, so we have essentially Rutgers University case spring syllabus. and this is going to probably repeat a lot of what was already said in the already said before about the modules and what this course is for. But this course basically what it says is the fundamentals of writing across all media platforms. Platforms. What does that mean? Well, that means that could be like, not just the old-fashioned dead tree paper that they talked about, but on the web, what we're doing right now. Okay. Um, and also on the phone. Okay. I teach digital media actually, and I actually talk about how in the digital media, I mean, that class, you have to really learn, and especially it's a very, very similar class to what we teach in writing for media, but we have to really like specifically design what we do so that it gets on the phone and gets alerted to people in a very digital way. Okay. Um, which is similar to what we do here. Okay. But anyway, so that's the idea is that the basic and accepted techniques accepted by each discipline, whether it be the internet, the TV, or the newspaper. Okay. This is an introductory level for writing course for students in the journalism media studies program. This course is meant to build a journalism students skill set from the ground up. So that's one thing that's really important to note is that I expect a lot of people here to not actually have even written a news story before, which is fine. It's perfect. Okay. Sometimes I actually have, it's actually a little bit easier to teach a person, I have to be honest with you, who's never done it before, as opposed to somebody who's done it before, because, a lot of times at like high school newspapers, that sort of thing, they win awards and all that stuff, but they don't necessarily like learn like the basic tools, that you need to learn, I think. I mean, I was the editor of my high school newspaper, but I really needed a Rutgers education to actually really kind of get to where I needed to get in order to have a profession. So, um, I say over the course of the semester, we'll learn basic rules of grammar, okay, but not too much of that because I expect you actually to know that when you get into class, the basic rules of grammar. I really don't want to spend a lot of time grading people's grammar. It's really important that we actually just kind of stick to, going beyond that and learning the basic style of media, okay? Um, okay, so, the readings, the discussions, as I like to say, the Associated Press wire is very much a basic approach to news writing. I'll be talking about that. That basically covers like anything that's going on across the world, locally or nationally or internationally. Okay, it's a wire service that does that. Okay, readings, lectures, and discussions are utilized to introduce different genres and styles of writing. So there is actually different stuff. I mean, even though it has a basic formula to it and everything that we'll talk about, but there are different like styles to it. There's actually feature news writing. There's what they call data journalism. Okay. But then there's, of course, there's different subjects of journalism too, like crime, politics, that sort of thing. Okay. The breaking news style usually deals with those types. Okay. Of news. Okay. So, we'll pretty much be writing almost like breaking news style, which doesn't necessarily mean you got to know, but it's good for you to know. Basically, we're releasing this now so you can read this and understand this and learn from it because it's probably important for you to know pretty soon. Okay. All right. So, some of the objectives obviously identify and analyze characteristics of the various forms of writing, research and write and edit content for diverse forms of media writing. Okay. And we don't just do like actual general traditional news writing in this class, but also another platform is actually public relations. A lot of people like take this class and go into public relations actually, or go into journalism field, the school of communication information, because actually that is just another form of journalism. Actually, I mean, I have had people really deride public relations as like the dark side and that sort of thing, but actually that is actually the way of delivering news. And actually, I do an assignment that deals with public relations and rewriting a press release. And actually, that is probably the number one way that people get their news now. It used to be like you actually would have to call somebody up and get the information. You still do that, but now thanks to the advent of digital journalism 25, 26 years ago, um, now it's actually much easier to get your news from like a press release that's actually on the web, or even like public relations handlers use social media, like use Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook to deliver the news. Okay. And also we teach not just how to basically write those sorts of news releases, but also like how to receive that information from news releases and turn it into a news story. Okay. Write clearly, accurately, focus. I actually like to say that accuracy, clarity, and focus are my three big tenets of journalism. Accuracy, clarity, and focus. Accuracy meaning that like you got to be right. Okay. If there's one thing in journalism that you can't be is wrong. Okay. Now people in journalism do make mistakes. That's true. That happens. I mean, people are human, that whole thing. But the thing is though, is that you know, you just can't like make that a pattern, that sort of thing, because then people won't trust you. You won't have the credibility you need to have in order to become a trustworthy journalism. People will see your byline and they'll be like, "Oh my God, that guy," or like they'll even see the publication or something like that. And maybe it's because they've gotten enough wrong, they'll just shy away from it. When we have enough issues right now with all this crap going on with like people calling us fake news and all this stuff, we don't need to like lend credibility to that theory, okay, or to that, I would say, slander, okay. So we have to try to get things right before. I like to say, you know, some too often, especially in digital media, people try to be fast before they're right. You really got to be right before you're fast. Okay. All right. Again, here are the textbooks. Here are the books. Writing and reporting for media, 12th edition. Don't forget that. And of course, the Associated Press Style Guide and Briefing on Law. I say 219. I mean, it could also be the most latest version that they have available. Hasn't really changed much since then. One of the things that has actually changed is they changed the percent symbol from spelling out percent to the actual figure. So that's actually what the Associated Press style book does. Essentially, is it actually provides actually almost like a dictionary, but beyond that, and tells you, basically gives you an idea like how things should be, because the journalism language actually is actually supposed to be like almost like, and I hate to put it this way, there is actually a lot of creativity and that sort of thing to it. But the thing about journalism is that it's the most popular form of media, and it's actually tries to cater to like all age levels and all levels of intellect, the whole thing. So it's not, you know so what they try to, there's a certain sameness to it too. They want to make sure that everybody across the country reads it at the same level, and also reads it for the same language, because sometimes like there's things that, like for instance, like some abbreviation of a rank of a police officer, it may be like spelled differently in some areas than others. And what they try to do is develop some sort of level of consistency, so you're reading the same language that you're reading in North Dakota that you're reading in New Jersey. Okay. And you know you'll get confused by like maybe certain things that are actually like abbreviated, or certain symbols that are used, that sort of thing. So the Associated Press style actually gives you that style, gives you that consistent style that's used in terms of like phrasing things, in terms of like using symbols, that sort of thing, that's used across the country and beyond. Okay. All right. And also you should be able to pick up online if you need to. Okay. All right, lectures and classes. Okay, so students should be prepared to participate in discussions and exercises. Now, how do you do that when you have an asynchronous class? Well, I do things like go beyond that. Like one thing I may try to make sure is that actually you're paying attention, and I can tell when you're not, because I can tell by your assignment performance that you're not paying attention. Okay, so I definitely factor that in terms of like, I grade your assignments for what they are, but I also can tell like if you're so far afield that you haven't been paying attention, you haven't been picking up on the things I've been teaching, that you're not just not paying attention. So it's almost like a way of taking attendance, seeing in your writing and seeing that you're missing things that I've talked about in previous classes. Okay. Um, so there's that, but also I do things like for material for classes and everything, I'll have discussion points, and there is actually a section on Canvas for discussion points that I use actually for assignments. Okay. So so anyway, so that's so I expect you to participate in that stuff. Okay. So yeah, I expect you to do things like ask questions. I don't expect you to know everything right away. I like to say, like I said before, like the first half of this class deals with the writing end of things, the last half does reporting. But I grade on a scale. I talk about this, where basically the latter assignments count more than the earlier and middle assignments. Okay, so I expect progress, and I expect that to happen too. So the way to get there is to do things like ask questions. Okay, so you got to ask questions. All right. Um, if you don't ask questions, then you're not going to probably know what you need to know, and you're probably not going to be able to be caught up in that sort of thing. So I expect you to participate. Send me emails if you're not sure of things. I mean, it's clear, of like, especially if you're not performing well in class, you're not asking questions, then that's a participation thing too. You're not doing enough to actually boost your performance, okay? So as I said before, all the lectures will be recorded and posted on YouTube, and the links will be posted in the announcement section and beyond, because I also email it too, and also do it as an assignment by 9 a.m. every Monday, except for the first one, which is this one. Oh my gosh. Look at this. I put January 18th. Oh my God. No. That's actually September. What do we got here? Oh my God. I will fix that. I guess we got September 6th, right? Sorry about that. I missed some things. So there you go. It's September 6th. Okay, that'll be the first one. Okay. Here's our methods of assessment. And I do actually have a thing on Canvas that actually acts as a rubric. Okay. But this is how things will be broken down in terms of like grading, in-class participation. Again, that's like the things I just talked about. There are ways of actually determining like how people actually are, or whether they're participating or not. Okay. So that's 30% of the class. And I expect everybody to get an A in that, even if you're not performing well on the rest of the assignments. Okay. You be engaged with me, you basically watch all the lectures, you ask questions, you participate in the discussion points, that sort of thing. Okay. The key writing assignments. Okay, those, and that's how I grade. These are the tests. 6 or 7, but I probably will have 7. Okay, that's 70% of your overall grade. Okay, the final 2 assignments will count more. Okay, grading will be based on a progression more than on an average. So assignments will be announced on Canvas. Okay, reading assignments will not be graded directly, as I said before, but based on your writing performance. Okay, and basically seeing that you're actually reading those things. Okay, and I like how I should not have spelled grades. Found 2 errors already. Reading, it's funny, I do that actually a lot when I go over the syllabus. 6 to 7 key writing assignments, but it'll probably be 7. Each covers a different style of writing of media. Okay, everyone is required to submit each assignment on time, and then you actually submit the assignments on Canvas. Okay, and by the way, I'm a big believer. I'm actually going to ask everybody, and I'm going to send an email about this too. Would like your direct email address. I don't like actually sending out and corresponding on Canvas email because I think it's a little bit too cumbersome. I'd rather you just email me directly, todavis@rutgers.edu. Okay, and do it that way. All right. So that's going to be 70% of your grade of the writing assignments. Okay. So the grading scale, an A grade will be awarded to an assignment that fulfills and shows a lot of original analytical thought. Something that I always say is like publishable. Okay. B plus B grades will be awarded in terms of assignment that be fulfilled thoughtfully and correctly with some evidence of originality and creativity, but probably requires some editing. Okay. And the C plus grade will be similar to that, but it requires much more substantial editing, I would say. Usually, when I say accurate, clear, and focused, usually like when you get down to that level, it's not very focused. Okay, it probably requires some disorganization. It probably is disorganized a little bit. Probably like needs a little more reporting. But the big difference between a C and a C plus, and then like will be a D or an F or what I call an R, which I'll get to, is that I understand what the story is about and you've made the effort to get there. Okay. Even if it needs require like some organization, requires like some clearer thought, requires some sort of better focus. I have some understanding from top to bottom of what you're writing about. Okay. And you'll see when I do actually send assignments back to you what I mean. But yeah, so what I do is actually I give out an R on the first assignment and actually first drafts of every assignment except for the last assignment, which I'll talk about eventually. But anyway, I give out an R instead of a D or an F because what I do is that maybe basically requires you to rewrite the assignment. Okay, so if you rewrite the assignment, you actually can rewrite it for a higher grade. Okay, and obviously if you get an R, you have to rewrite it. Okay, so. But everybody actually gets a chance to rewrite it. You don't have to get an R to rewrite an assignment. If you get anything B plus or lower, you can rewrite it. Okay. B plus B, C plus C can be rewritten for a higher grade. I've had a lot of people do that and get an A. And actually, that's another way I weigh class participation because I want to see like if you get like a B plus especially and you don't rewrite it, wow, you don't want to go for an A? You want to try a little harder? So that's another thing I can take into account is that you're actually taking the actions that are necessary to get to that point, to get a good grade. Okay. An R, you have to rewrite. If you don't rewrite it, you get an F. Okay. And then I also have, I'll talk about that, but basically, obviously I talk about participation, I talk about that, religious observances. Obviously, there's that. If you have any kind of issues with that, just let me know, and you can don't have, we'll make accommodations. Okay. But the grading policies, I mean, journalism is about deadlines, it's about making deadlines. Okay. So, late submissions, okay, if they're late, you don't get credit. Okay. But I do give a little bit of a grace, kind of a grace period, and here's how it is. The first drafts will not be accepted more than 24 hours after the deadline, and anything submitted within that 24-hour period will receive a lower grade. I usually give a half grade lower. Okay. So, so the grace period, you actually still penalize for it. It's 24-hour grace period, but you still get a lower grade. Okay. No exceptions. I do, if you have some issues, you can talk to me about it. We'll see. Okay. But, if you don't, if there's anything that's actually about making that's where deadlines are important is journalism, because that's about the credibility issue. I know I said before, it's better to be right than fast, but you do have to be fast. You do have to beat the competition. It is a business. Okay. And that matters on the internet too. If you're, especially in business journalism, if you come out with a big business news but you're slower, if you're Bloomberg and you come out slower than Reuters, then Reuters, the Google algorithm, first of all, will pick that up and it will spread it all over the place. So it will thwart and whatever Bloomberg did. It'll be all over the place. It'll be all over social media posts as a Reuters post. So they'll get many more clicks than the Bloomberg people will. So it's very much important for you to actually, stay on top of that. Okay. To make sure that you stick to deadlines and use that as a practice. Okay. A grade appeals, I give some rules for that. Obviously, you can appeal a grade, that sort of thing. But of course, the best way to deal with a low grade is actually to rewrite it and actually get a better grade. Okay. This is very much resembles what I have on the modules, the different things we'll be talking about: course reduction, writing basics, AP style, media ethics, and then going to the reporting of things, public relations, and of course the major assignment. I actually have a preparation for that. Actually, where you actually have to do a proposal for the major assignment, and then you do the major assignment. Actually, that's at the bottom. So basically, that comes like about halfway through the semester, and that will count actually the biggest of all. All right, so more than anything, and we will talk about that. Okay, and then I have academic integrity, and some of the basic rules that you probably see on every single syllabus that's out there. Okay. All right, so let's go to this very first assignment. Okay, like I said, this actually is not posted yet, but it will be, I promise. And let's see here. Anyway, so it's under the assignments, but it will be under the assignments, but I have to actually go to, like I said, this is actually on my teacher view right now. Let's see here. So what we have here, and it actually will be posted under the modules. Right now it's in gray or black. But profile assignment, again, not graded. And what I'm going to ask you guys to do is write a short 5-paragraph profile of yourself in the third person. That's a big point to make here, by the way. We write in the third person in this class, okay? Not the first person. We write in the third person. That means he, she, it. That means you write about somebody else, not yourself, okay? You don't insert yourself in a story. The reason why we do that is because actually it's easier to write about somebody else, okay? When you write about yourself, you ever read a story where it's like I and me and all this stuff? It's just, maybe it's kind of almost like it just feels like so self-indulgent. And actually that's hard to do, is to write a story about yourself, because it's almost like a whole different level of writing that you have to get to like make it sound more credible and not so much of your opinion, that sort of thing. Or if it is your opinion, you have to make it credible and researched and that sort of thing. So we write in third person voice. Let me say it again, third person voice. Okay. And what I'm going to ask you to do, this is actually a kind of a made up assignment in a way. Okay. It's weird. Okay. But you're going to write a paragraph about yourself. You write a profile on yourself. Okay. But it's only going to be five journalism paragraphs long, which means that it's only a sentence or two for each paragraph. Okay. and it's only going to be 5 paragraphs long. So you basically have to get as much as you possibly can into that story. And what I'm going to ask you to do essentially is to pick something that's unique about you and focus on that. This is what news writing is about. It's not about writing about 5 things at one time. It's writing about the one thing that's new and unique, because news is the plural of new. If you didn't know that, the word news is the plural of new. So you write it what's new and unique about yourself, and you focus on that for 5 paragraphs, 5 journalism paragraphs, which are no more than a sentence or 2. Okay. As I say here, each paragraph will be no more than a sentence or 2 long. Okay. All right. And that will be posted on Tuesday. Okay. And oh, let me actually go back to that. And this will be due a week from, actually, it's to be less than a week, I should say. Actually, it's going to be due Monday. Okay. So, yeah. So that will be due on Monday. Okay. All right, everybody. So that's it. And then so this will be posted, and I appreciate everything. Let me know if you have any questions, if you need anything, and that's it. And I look forward to talking to you guys. Bye-bye.